him with a right uppercut or a right to
Oh
the
yeah.
body. Tank
No, I'm
just
just saying
has
that left.
pinpoint accuracy. And I was watching. Okay, so before Saturday, I was like, yeah, Shakur just as fast as Tank, or he's as quick. He's not, bro. I think there's a difference in fast, quick, and explosion.
Yeah.
Tank is overly explosive. He's more explosive than T.O. He more explosive than Loma. He
Yeah.
more explosive than Shakur. He's more explosive than all of these people. The only person who was equally as explosive was Ryan, but Ryan can't box,
Right.
and that's the difference.
Right.
Like Tank really can box. Go back and watch him in Pitbull. Dude really can box.
Yep.
I give, like I said before, I give my shot. I give T.O. the best shot. That's what I feel. I think T.O. athletic wise can match up with him. I don't think he's as strong as him.
Yes.
I believe it's T.O.
Nah.
I think T.O.'s athletic, but here's the thing. This is what I'm saying. T.O. just fought Buddy, and dude was stalking T.O. and he tried to sit in the box with him. And
Right.
dude touching T.O. up. That's the difference. T.O. face after that was punches.
If
He
you
looked
let-
like that because he was getting hit.
If
He
Tank
ain't
hit
sitting in the
T.O.
box with Tank doing that. That's
Hell
what I'm
no.
saying.
Yeah,
You
right.
think Tank can take those type of punches from T.O. though?
But he's not gonna have to for very
But
long.
T.O., hey, think about it. Since T.O. got back, he ain't been hitting people like old T.O. Who he been hitting like
T.O.
that?
is he's like he's an athlete that boxes. He's not a boxer. He's an athlete. Like John Pascal was explosive and quick twitch. John Pascal is like a Teofimo, and I'm not trying to disrespect Teofimo when I say that. I mean, he's not a high IQ boxer. He's an explosive guy that's a front runner. He got to get you out of here in the first 6 rounds. If he doesn't, when he slows down, he's not able to sit still, sit in the pocket like Gerald just said, and pick shots off. He doesn't have that kind of defense. He's just an explosive guy that when he get his hands on you, he gonna get you the fuck out of here. But he got to do that in the first 6 rounds. And Gervonta is so smart. He understands going against a Teofimo, I'm smaller anyway. He gonna let him tire himself out. And then after he's tired, he going to crack him, man. That's it.
But
like,
even so,
even like you Lomo,
just said, even like you just said, you said T.O. got to get you out of there in the first 6 rounds. That's old T.O. He can't do that no more.
Yeah, power hasn't translated to 140. That's a fact.
He has not been T.O. that's putting people down. So now, once Tank realized that you can't hurt him, that's where the problem comes in. Right. And that's where you're in trouble because there's not a person he can't hurt.
Right.
Like he fought Pitbull, and Pitbull just got like this bullet head, but that's the fight that Tank also his hand was broke or his hand was messed up.
Mm-hmm.
But if you watch how he was hitting on Pitbull, that's where we've seen him really have to box. And that's when I realized, hey, Tank really can box.
Oh no, Tank I used to think the same. And I think Tank's IQ, the way he cuts the ring, I just feel like, in just my opinion, I feel like T.O. has his best fights at his biggest moments. And I just feel like T.O. is the only one that can match him athletically. Athletically, he's the only fighter that can match up with him. Hands
question for you.
Yeah.
Question for you. So do you watch the yeah, you do. This is what you do. So that was a dumb question. Forgive me. So did you see what Shakur said post-fight? I just got to get back in the ring and work on cutting off the ring.
Yeah, I've seen that. There's a lot of things got to work. He's a man of a lot of
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So at this point, this is just me. I don't know. You know boxing more than me.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to ask a coach, is cutting off the ring not something that you work on early, like footwork?
Absolutely.
Like Okay, so if you have to get back in the gym to learn to cut off the ring right now, like, come on, man. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too much into that, but when I heard that, I said, it's kind of a red flag.
No, 100%, and that's a problem I have with Teofimo as well. Doesn't cut the ring well, and he's a great offensive fighter, so that's really disappointing to actually hear that. Tank does cut the ring well. He does
what doesn't Tank do well? And that's not like a that's a real question. What doesn't he do well?
my biggest issue with Tank, and this is just me, I feel like his inactivity and waiting on sitting on that big shot. You can lose a fight if somebody can take that shot, but most people have not been able to take that shot. That's a fact.
Okay, so let's say he does lose a fight in that manner. Does it affect his stock? I don't think it does.
I don't know. It all depends because a lot of people feel like he's invincible. Once you take that loss, I mean, listen, we've had this conversation many a times, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with the Latino fighters, it doesn't affect them. But look how people are looking at Errol Spence. Look how people are looking at Devin Haney. It's a different ballgame. So
yeah, I think people are looking. Okay, if Earl and Bud had fought and he went 12 and it was split decision, nobody's looking at Earl different.
Yeah,
right.
They're looking at Earl different because it was such a big
right.
It was like, come on, bro. Like serious, like you're gonna lose like this. And then when you think like that, okay, you go back to his previous fights. Yes, he was beating guys up, but he wasn't knocking people out anymore. So now you put 2 and 2 together and you say, okay, he doesn't have his power anymore where he's knocking people out like he was.
Yeah.
Then it looks like his reaction time is a little off. Maybe things are starting to wear on him and he just, he had 2 major car wrecks. He's had injuries. He's been out. He's had all these issues. He had the eye issue. The doctor said his neurological problems.
See,
maybe it's just time.
I gotta challenge you there, Gerald, and this is why I gotta challenge you on that. Only reason you make a good point, but Errol Spence had that problem when it comes to dealing with a right hand. Are guys who know how to use an educated right hand since Kell Brook. Kell Brook was knocking the shit out of him in his prime. It's just that Kell Brook's face had already been damaged in previous fights, so he just broke down in that fight. Had Kell Brook not broken down in that fight, I think Errol would have lost the fight between those two because Kell Brook fought him. I broke this down on my page. He fought him masterfully, and all I was waiting for was a guy who could fight as a southpaw with a good southpaw jab to fight Errol Spence. And I said this a year before the Terrence Crawford fight. I said Terrence Crawford him and Boots are the only 2 guys that can fight as a southpaw and use that jab and dominate Errol Spence. So I knew that was going to happen to him. But the problem is after the car accident, everybody gives that loss to the neurological damage rather than the fact that Errol Spence never really was. And you look at this in Derek James' camp, Frank Martin, Errol Spence, all the guys that he trains right now, they're southpaws. But you see how they're doing. They fight like Mexican fighters. They meaning they're pressure fighters that just happen to be southpaws, which is a tough problem to solve for most fighters, right? But when you have a southpaw that fights those guys, they all turn out the same way. When they fight a southpaw, you see that they really can't box like that. And Errol Spence was one of the same. He was fighting guys, they were able to hit him. They just couldn't really hurt him because they couldn't get enough punishment on him. Whereas when he fought Bud can fight as a southpaw, and that's why Bud came out as a southpaw from the very beginning. He never went conventional that whole fight because he knew if I put this southpaw jab on him, it ain't shit he could do.
Well, I have zero disputes with what you said. I think I was only personally speaking to because Norbs had said when the black fighters take a loss, people just jump off the bandwagon, and I was just speaking to why I think it's like that with Earl. It's not that he lost once and people are like, oh, he's done. I'm saying the collective.
I'm sorry about that. You're right.
Yeah, no. That's why I cut you off.
Yeah,
because your analysis was perfect.
Go ahead. Do your thing.
Your analysis was perfect. Everything you just said, I have zero disputes. I'm just speaking to why I feel like everybody's like, oh, Earl's done. That's why I'm saying. Like, it's a collective. Like you just said, you said everything you just said, which is a fact. And then he goes and he fights a guy like Bud and gets beat on like that. Everybody that's because I think it's when you get to a certain level, it's not like in sports where like LeBron, people are gonna keep watching LeBron because it's like he's won his championships. At this point, we just enjoying him. If he have a chance to compete, great. But we just enjoying our time with LeBron while we got it. When you're in an individual sport and you've been at a certain level, when you stop fighting at that level where you're competing for championships, that's when people get. That's what people no longer say like, you know, oh yeah, I'm just a fan hit. No, they want to. If you are not at the peak of competing for a belt, it's kind of like, it's cool, you know.
Well, to both your points, it depends on how you. Just like with a woman, right? How you get her is how you lose her, right? So if you get a chick and you got her with the car, now you ain't got no car, you might lose it because she got used to a certain lifestyle, right? It's the same thing with boxing. How you come is how you go. Because you were talking about Pacquiao, people just want to see Pacquiao fight. They don't care because Pacquiao never came and sold the idea that I'm an unbeatable fighter. I'm just an exciting fighter. Arturo Gotti, the late Arturo Gotti, same way.
Yeah.
He didn't have to win. It's just you knew you were going to get excitement out of him. Most of the black fighters sell lifestyle and they sell this indomitable, unbeatable
because
persona.
of Floyd.
Right. So now they sell that. And if you sell me that and I'm a fan because I think you can't be beat and you get beat, I think the dopamine drop that you get when you watch that type of guy lose is different than if you selling I'm a fucking warrior. If a guy like the back in the day Aaron Pryor's, those type of guys, or guys like Mike Tyson, nobody's looking at them because they can't be beat. You're looking at them because of the type of figure and the type of persona that they put out there. And it's just too many black fighters that's putting that persona that they can't be beat out there. And that's why when they lose one fight, they lose everybody.
But you know what's crazy to your point too? Like that's one of the reasons I feel like a lot of the black fighters fight like that, or even like Shakur Stevenson. They don't want to take the L. Shakur Stevenson actually came out and said this. He goes,
yeah, he
said
like I
that, bro. He said if I feel like it's too difficult to fight, I'm just gonna put people to sleep and win the fight in a boring way. And I was just like, dog.
Yeah, he said, listen, losing in the Olympics, he said that's the worst feeling I've ever felt in my life, and I never want to feel that ever again. He said, so I don't care about whatever, I just want to get the W. And I'm like, all right, well, okay.
That's why he's in the position he's in now. Nobody wants people walking out. Like it's crazy.
Cameron and May said it. They said, bro, you're in the entertainment business. We watch you for entertainment. Yes, you have to get the win, but we watch you for the entertainment. It still has to be entertaining.
Right.
It has to be entertaining. Like we could think about it. People are going to be people. If you see two kids racing or playing one-on-one, we're going to have an analysis on it. Like, oh, shoot, man, that kid might have something to him. I don't know, man. That other one, his footwork is like, that's just what people do. Forget that. If Shakur wants people to stop saying what they saying, you got to get in there and fight. Like T.O., you know what? He was like, yeah, T.O. didn't perform well, this, and this. You know why we didn't say anything about T.O.? Because he just got in there and fought. Yes, the dude was punching, but it was a fight. It was something we could watch.
Right.
If you come out, you're in the fight business. Yes, I understand it's hit, don't get hit. But you still have to entertain. It has to be entertaining.
Exactly.
It's just, you know. Right, think about it. People talk about Floyd from, I'm going to say from probably like Canelo on. Floyd's fights wasn't exciting.
Yeah, Floyd wasn't
Pacquiao wasn't exciting. Berto wasn't exciting. What's Berto, right? That was his last fight.
That was his second to last fight.
Yeah, that was.
Who did he fight?
He fought Berto, and then he fought, I think, McGregor. Either way, he might have been.
We not count Conor McGregor. I'm talking about like boxers.
Yeah, it was Andre Berto.
Yeah, from Canelo on, you could really go down each fight and be like, I mean, he won, but
But back to your point about the invincibility thing, right? People critique Tank for that too because he didn't fight the Devin Haney's, he didn't fight the Teofimos, he didn't fight the Lomos at a time.
That's different though. That's different because so you got to separate the two because boxing is a business, but it's also it's also guys that do avoid people, right? When you look at a guy like Tank, he already has star power, meaning he can make a fight on his own. Those other guys like Haney, Shakur.
You right. Maidana was after Canelo. The Maidana fights.
After
the Maidana fights. Yes. After the Maidana fights. Yes.
Yeah, Maidana fights were exciting. You right about that.
Yes, the Maidana fights for sure were exciting. It was after those.
But think about it. Look what it did to Adrian Bronner after he got smoked by Donna. Done.
Yeah, but that's because he talks so heavy and he in there getting beat on.
You can't do
he
that.
He was getting beat up. That's a difference in losing the fight.
If you gonna call shit out and talk crazy, you better back it up, or you better die trying. That's the way it is. Like,
or at least make it a fight. Like, if you get in there, you talk all that noise, and y'all brawl for 12 rounds, and you end up losing. It is what it is.
That's cool. Yeah.
Man, that dude was getting beat on. That's completely different, bro.
Yeah,
you can't go in there and do all that and get whooped.
You got cakewalk. But to that point earlier, when you were talking about him avoiding those guys or him not fighting those guys, it's not his fault, because they're trying to build up a draw or a gate to be able to even compete at that level with a Tank. Tank just jumped up there because he actually is it.
Yeah.
The rest of them, Teofimo's trying to prove that. Haney's trying to prove that. And Haney was on his way, but Ryan Garcia kind of derailed that. But Haney trying to prove that. And Shakur is a long way from proving that. So why would I fight one of those guys to give them a check and risk losing to one of them, right? Why would I fight one of those guys and they not even earning the stage? They haven't earned the stage.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, here's what. Can I just say this about the Haney and Ryan fight? Yes, he got dropped, and yes, them hooks was hurting him. Mm-hmm. But can we just stop acting like Haney's just all of a sudden this trash boxer? Like, let's say he gets through the end, because he got caught in the 7th round, closer to the end, right?
And it was the decision was still close, by the way.
Let's say he gets through that 7th round. Yeah. From rounds 2 through all the way to 8, it wasn't close. Ryan wasn't touching Haney. He was not touching him. Mm-hmm. Ryan was getting tired. He kept swinging for the fences. The problem with Haney is he got comfortable. He kept dropping his hand, and Ryan caught him. When you're fighting a person that has the great equalizer, and whether it's a hook, a right hand, some type of something that can equalize this fight, you have to be on your P's and Q's at all times. But it's killing me that everybody just he's not this and he's not that and he not, man, the fight wasn't close until he got caught again and he just never recovered.
You know what's crazy, G?
If he could have recovered, if he could have recovered in the 8th round like he did in the 2nd round, the fight, we would have said, hey, listen, man, them 2 rounds, had Ryan had a couple more rounds like that, he could have won. If Haney could have recovered, he would have won the fight, and the decision was still close. No, That's what people. I get what we seen. I get it. I'm not saying that Haney should have won the fight. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is we have to stop just trashing people without actually going back and evaluating what happened. Like, people saying Haney can't beat this person and he can't beat that person. None of these people y'all saying he can't beat don't have a Ryan Garcia left hook.
No. And you know what's funny? G, prior to the fight, the day before the fight, me and you were on the show speaking about the Haney fight. And nobody had Garcia winning. In fact, people had Haney.
I will give you your credit. You stood on G. Trust me on this. If you have a hook like Ryan, you have a shot. And I'm like, bro, that one hook is not going to beat a boxer like Haney. And you said, listen, all it takes is one. And that's all it took was one.
Yeah.
One. That left hook in that 7th, he couldn't recover the rest of the fight.
But that goes to my point before. When it comes to the black fighters, right? Think about this.
Right.
He took that loss. And that fight, if you look at the scorecards, it was actually close. Even with the knockdowns. People prior to that fight has Haney as the next star. PBC or Eddie Hearn basically had a deal worked out with him. He was going to be the next one. All of a sudden, he loses that fight. And Devin Haney is dog shit. It's crazy. Like
it's not the losing though, Nord. Okay. Like Joe said when he talked about Spence, it's how you lose. It's not the fact that you lose. It's how you do it. So
can't lose like that.
Way Haney, it was hard to watch Haney get beat up like that. You kind of wanted him to stop it because of how hard he was getting hit, and that's hard to watch. Same thing with Errol Spence. So it's how you lose that makes it so that you kind of lose that luster after you lose. It's not the fact that you lose, because there's guys that lose that you don't really give a damn lose because gave you an exciting fight. Yeah. And like Pitbull Cruz, he lose. You still want to watch him fight. You know what I mean?
Listen,
I like
People-
watching Rolly fight.
Man,
Rolly
listen,
get
no,
knocked out,
that,
but
I'm glad you
Rolly coming to tear stuff up.
I'm
Rolly's
glad
the
you
GOAT.
said that. I'm glad you